When an institution, OSDMA, has made its presence felt at national as well as international level, so the change of leadership always brought in new ideas of doing it better and better rather than diluting its focus. So there have been some cases where some of the issues, but the government has realized like you need to have a person as the at a leadership level in OSDMA who believes in creating democratic space for the people who are engaged with the communities. Government of Odisha had best of their public administrators. UNDP had put in always the best of the people who are in technically very sound and exposed to disaster management situations. And also we had partnership with various agencies who were coming forward with specialized inputs. Like for example, working with the persons with disability. So Handicap International, they came forward with how do we really focus on, because when you work on larger issues, you tend to ignore the issues of the marginalized people. So they are all there. We always had large number of agencies, international organizations. We are part of this discourse who were keeping this issue alive. And more importantly also, we had another institution which is called the Interagency Group, which is an outfit of the international organizations. And that particular, where I was also an active member and instrumental in setting up that, it's actually two institutions giving strength to each other. IAG is a body where we decided we would not implement projects, but we would be a knowledge institution. So IAG always had a very close relationship with the OSDMA. So the knowledge we were gathering from the communities was in a very systematic way were transferred or shared with OSDMA. So the knowledge institution or the knowledge process of IAG has contributed significantly in building what you see today OSDMA also. SRC was active, Special Relief Commissioner was active, and the primary job of the SRC is to distribute relief. And when we were responding to the disasters, we were mobilizing volunteers. We were engaging with the communities because there have been close to 10,000 deaths. So a lot of people, they had lost their family members. So what we had done at that moment was we had from ActionAid, we had mobilized large number of volunteers, giving them training to provide psychosocial counseling to those people who had survived the disasters. That was a kind of painful engagement in terms of when you go and listen to the stories of the people who have lost 16, 17 of their family members and they are the lone survivors, it becomes very difficult. And we still remember, like when you talk to those people, all of us were crying together, because surviving such a disaster, then people, and a lot of people, they suffered from the post-traumatic stress disorder. I think post-1999 super cyclone also, in Odisha, we were exposed to various international setups like Sphere, then NIMANS, then WHO, all UN agencies, they all came forward with tactical knowledge of addressing the issues of disaster without affecting the dignity of the survivors. So that created a kind of space for the people who started believing in, like these are the people, they have not come just to distribute relief, but they also care for our dignity. When you care for dignity of any community members, so they would always stand next to you to achieve your mission. So that has been the story behind the success of OSDMA and all other institutions who have built a resilient society.
Regarding the processes, we had various consultative methods. We consulted people's representative, people organizations, and then NGOs and all line departments in formulating programs. 2-3 areas where focus was on. One is building the disaster management, disaster preparedness capability. That was one area. This was We found that in Ershama, where this 9,000 people died because of this sea water coming in, there is practically there is no shelter, pakka shelter available within 5 to 7 kilometers of the coastline where these people could take shelter. Even if you ask them to evacuate, even if you evacuated them from their villages, there is no place to keep them there. So, there was really no pakka structure. So, large number of good buildings which were actually cyclone shelters, flood shelters were built under this program and through various other programs like State Red Cross provided fund for large number of cyclone shelters. Then State Chief Minister's Relief Fund also provided fund for cyclone shelters. So, today you see the entire coastline is dotted with a large number of cyclone. Any coastal village you go today, you will find a couple of cyclone shelters there. And also along the major rivers, you will find large number of flood shelters today. So, anywhere you go today, evacuation and putting them somewhere is not an issue at all. Putting them somewhere and providing them food, shelter, drinking water at those places is not difficult at all today. In 2013 Phailin cyclone, we evacuated 10 lakh people in that cyclone from those villages to the, and we really accommodated them in those cyclone shelters, provided them food for 3-4 days and just putting them there, because large number of these houses in the coastal areas are thatched houses. So, they get blown away in the slight strong wind, they get blown away. So, these cyclone shelters have become very handy that way. So are the flood shelters also at the time of floods. The community participation in the disaster, in this management of cyclone shelters. Management of cyclone shelter has been left to the given to the community. In the other time, in the normal time, they use it for the school building or for community center. In 2000 cyclone, we had to build a large number of houses in those areas. So some of the NGOs were very useful in the sense, like rather than entrusting the construction of house to contractors, this was given to the people themselves. And these NGOs played a big role in mobilizing those community, providing the necessary skill, masons and other support. Some of these NGOs are very useful in that. Similarly, in the livelihood restoration also NGOs play a very good, very important role. At the time of 99 cyclone, NGOs also themselves organized themselves. I remember Dr. Jagadanand led a forum. So, all the NGOs are meeting there. Like one thing is that there should not be duplication of relief work. So, many NGOs, they had a little support, whatever financial support they got or material support they got from their supporting agencies. So, they to avoid duplication, they got together and we also met them frequently. I remember every week we are meeting. UNDP, I think yes, in UNDP office we are meeting every week and generally coordinating different efforts coming from different agencies, so that there are no duplication. Plus they were also giving us feedback regarding the kind of work to be taken up, kind of work needed particular areas. So they provide that kind of support and then coordinating to prevent duplication of efforts also was you needed that kind of support. Though in the process I would say that not a very big financial support may have come from them, but then support in terms of community mobilization, support in terms of expertise, particularly in the areas of construction of houses, water sanitation, livelihood restoration. NGOs have been a big help in the state.
Knowledge networking, let's say with UNDP platform, came at a later stage. Apart from DRM program, because knowledge transfer was there under the DRM program. But UNDP was not the only organization working at that point of time. OSDMA collaborated with Oxfam, if I remember correctly, Oxfam, CRS, UNICEF also, and World Food Program also. Many other organizations, they started working. Let's say Oxfam was taking up CBDP programs also in some of the districts like Puri, Cuttack also, and the some of areas were overlapping also. Let's say UNDP's DRM program and Oxfam CBDP program, same area. So we build in the convergence also. These are the activities UNDP program will take up. These are the activities Oxfam will take up. At the state level also, I told you that was Geo NGO forum also was there, and there is a mini group also. You can call it a informal task force. So that was, let's say, President Prahato was there till then, he was there also. Kamal was also joined also later stage also. So all of them, they were coordinating with various organizations. Let's say one example will be in case of UNICEF. They coming up with a book for school children on disaster preparedness. So Professor Arun Mahanti was there, he was drafting both in English and Odia, we supplied both the schools also. They came up with that. CRS also had its own programs also. Lutheran also, World Service, they had their programs also. A good number of organizations working, and some of them were associated with not only with the disaster preparedness, some of them are working with the rehabilitation, some with the reconstruction also. So each of them, were tagged to different officers, so that there is no overlapping and they carry on the activities. So let's say Oxfam, they had their own model also, that we accepted also. Pradhan gave ideas for drought management activities in Noapada, that we adopted also. So it depends upon the ideas they were coming up.